We got a whole new coaching staff, except for, a couple of guys defensively. When you look down the coaching staff, there's 3 guys sitting around that table that were with us last year. So we got new ideas. Now we had a great coaching staff last year. I don't anything about that. But it's a whole new game. New things offensively. We're doing a lot of things defensively, and I've kind of reeled myself back into the defensive side of the ball. Where last year I had to, I was more of the head coach, and so I've dug back in that. But it's a new players. We got 8 seniors. We're young. We're youthful. I don't know if they're going to show up and eat popcorn in the stands or play. I mean, they're just young. So, but it's exciting right now, and it's really our first. This is really I know I have to go on the record as I was the head coach last year, but this is really my start too, because I was hired way after signing day. And you didn't have any say on anybody that was taken. We just had to, and now, all these freshmen, and we got several freshmen battling for position. All the coaches and all the players are guys that have came in with me, and it's really like, in my mind, it's like our first season and the start, even though that, last year, on the record book was.
Talk about the offense, and what do you expect out of the offense in 2011?
People think that, with the air raid that, and I guess that's what you call it, that it's not a ball control offense, but it is totally opposite of what people think. It is a very ball control offense where we're going to get the ball out of our hands and make quick reads, and, whether it be huddle or no huddle, and different types of tempos and what we're trying to accomplish. But we major in the running game. We go through a run segment, and we'll call a running play, and based on what the defense goes, it may be thrown, as a bubble screen or sideline screen or something like that, or given, or the quarterback may run it. It's just it's a different look. You really don't know what to expect from down to down, and it's everything based on the checks of the quarterback, and and then you be able to vertical stretch. There's a lot of different sets that you'll see, motions and fly motions, and sideline screens and bubble screens and double passes. I mean, there's a lot of things that are exciting out of it. So, I think that when you recruit the state of Texas, it's dominated by spread offenses, that you have to be able to recruit kids that are used to playing in these kinds of systems.
Speaking of your quarterbacks, talk about your quarterbacks.
2 good ones. Nick and a lot of the NFL scouts have come around and really like what Nick does, and they understand the injury last year that's happened in the first game, and he wasn't even able to he never really practiced after that, just stood and watched. And then Aaron gets hurt, and I got both those kids back, and and it's the tell of 2 quarterbacks. Nick's the big strong gunslinger that has been played in the SEC and Elite 11 quarterbacks, and he sees the checks before most anybody else would even dream of seeing it. And then you got a little guy from Evant that's not a little guy, that's a fast guy that can run, and he struggles with seeing it. But yet the things that he doesn't see, when he pulls it down, he can run with it. So they're 2 totally, and you'll see them both play. It's not like we're going to go in the football season and say, this one's going to start and this one's not going to play. Right now, Nick, going into the season, Nick will be the starter, but you'll see Aaron, 4 or 5 series a game, and he gives you a different element. And you know what? And you won't be surprised to see them both on the field at the same time. That's really a fun element that we'll add to it. So, I just told him, don't throw it to Nick because he can't run. But they're great kids. They're really, really close. If you see Aaron, Aaron and Nick are very, very close, which is unusual for 2 good quarterbacks to be that bad. But Aaron understands what he can learn from Nick, and understands he's been coached by these guys, and understands what Coach Hayes is teaching. And and they're fortunate to have league coaching them, on a day-to-day basis. But we got 2 young cats too now. I hope nobody gets to see them. But I'm excited about those 2 freshmen that we brought in. Both, combined, those guys threw for almost 15,000 yards in high school. So they're going to be exciting to see.
Talk about your running backs and the core there.
Running backs is a strong group. Evan Roberts coming back as an all-conference player, has done some things. We'll see whether he starts or not. He's got, Courtney Vaughn was is a tailback that led the state of Mississippi in rushing last year. And when you do that, when you got 38 guys from the state of Mississippi in that league that signed in the SEC, that league can run. And he averaged 131 yards a game. And the year before, he was a starting wide receiver and was first-team All-State wide receiver, so he can catch the ball in the backfield, as can Evan, and then the guy, that is changing the pace, that may be ahead of all of them, is Brandon Lowrey. And Brandon can do a lot of things. Brandon has battled some not off the field issues that you look at off the field, but he's had some finding himself as a young man, and I just appreciate it. He embraced me as a father, and he's tried to embrace his other family. But getting him back, whether he plays or not, is going to be fantastic. But I don't know who's going to play. They can all run. I think Brandon's the fastest and probably the strongest. So I'm looking. Right now, if we started today, Brandon Lowrey would probably be the guy.
Let's move outside to your wide receivers. A lot of new faces, a lot of new hands.
A lot of new faces. Start with Clifton Roads. Clifton's been with us for 2 years now. Actually, a spring and a year. We redshirted him a year ago, and probably could have played Cliff. It's one of those decisions that I made. We had some guys there, and I didn't want to waste Cliff. And Cliff will be a freshman on the field, and he's the hardest working kid, probably. In the skill positions, he's a tremendous worker. Kid, he can catch, he can run. The thing that Cliff brings to us more than anything, he's a very, very physical blocker, and he's an unselfish player. You've got Arthur Buckingham coming back. We've moved him from the slot to the outside receiver. Because we run so many receivers in, you'll see them both play at positions. It's not like, a dominant receiver will be on the field. And then on the other side, we got a guy named Tyra Waits, called him Ty Waits. Look for big things for him. He played in this system with Ben Noonan, who was a GA at West Texas, and the offense coordinator at West Texas under Lee. And, so he understands the system. Kid out of Miami, big, strong kid, 200 pounds. And then there's a battle with Jamal Mays right now, speedster that can really run. He's not very big, and, sometimes you wonder how much punishment he can take. And then we call him the speedster, but Cordell Valentine. We're waiting on Cordell to come on. I haven't seen it yet, but Cordell is probably the most talented football player on the team and run a 4.3 flat. I mean, he can outrun Jamal, and it ain't even close. But we've got to see him play. There's a talented group. Like you said, new hands, new faces. It's just interesting to see which ones emerge as the go-to guy out there.
Talk about the offensive line and all that they can do.
They're big. And they're long. They can do a lot of things for us. Getting Jesse Greenback's been a big lick, but Sean Wyatt started for us a year ago. And Adrian Campbell has came on. You got 3 big long guys. One of them's got to play inside, but Michael DiDomenico, kid we signed out of Canada, 6'5", 300. We're waiting for these guys to really gel. Jonathan Arnold will play a guard. Nick Perez will probably play a guard. We've moved Lucas Love into center. And they're all 6'4" and 6'5", but that's the ones we're waiting to gel. The quicker they gel and play together, because they're talented, they're long, they're big, they can do a lot of things. We're asking them to do things they have never done before, and pass protect, and also get out and block on the perimeter. So they're talented, but they got to be the ones that gel. If they don't, we'll struggle early, and that's what we don't want to happen. But they're the guys that got to protect us and be able to do extraordinary things that they've never done before.